station as it orbited 263 miles above the Black Sea. We are based in Bucharest, Romania, and via the Black Sea, one could sail to Istanbul. There are just 191 nautical miles. But this presentation is not about sailing, although I love speaking about sailing as much as I love speaking about email. The presentation is about clouds. See them in the background? Not about using clouds, about building clouds. Email hosting the cloud native way. So let's dive in. But first, a few words about me. I'm Bogdan Moldovan, Chief Email Officer of Oxygen. I wear many hats, don't we all? I'm half sales and half professional services. This picture was taken at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, well, hence my current long hair. But so, whether you are considering starting or replatforming an email hosting service, this needs to be done right. If you make a few mistakes in the first period of onboarding new customers, you may struggle with deliverability issues and the variety of various abuse scenarios. If one is not familiar with this struggle, one might say email is hard. But if on the other hand, one could also say, my customers can find email hosting anywhere since it's commodity. In that case, you may miss out a huge retention opportunity. And we all know how churn is a metric that we should keep an eye on and not ever stop trying to improve it. But in the end, there are others that argue that they've solved the email hosting problems that you experience. And they invite you to send all their users and all your users' data in their own cloud. We at Oxygen believe that email hosting for a hosting provider or a telecom company is a key element that contributes to your customer stickiness, to your brand, and to the other ecosystem of services that you offer. Nowadays, email hosting is no longer about just email. It's about calendars, shared folders, mobile device support, contact synchronization between desktop, webmail, and mobile devices of your customers, flexible email routing rules, email security, which is a big topic in its own, email archiving, desktop-like webmail, and so on. Flexible email hosting is about having integrated components that work like one, like the MTA, the IMAP server, the webmail, the calendar server, the performance and uptime monitoring, your centralized performance and uptime monitoring, your centralized logging infrastructure, being able to back up and restore, high availability, and disaster recovery. But it's also about having an email specialist on your team. It doesn't have to be a full-time employee. It can be a vendor that has a full stack product in its portfolio along with a team of experts that are available on demand. It's about being able to open a support case at 4 a.m. in the morning. It's about having the possibility to build email hosting products that are relevant to your local market and customer, to customize your own parameters for the email hosting product that you offer. Efficient email hosting is about automated provisioning. You do not want to manually create users. You want the users to be automatically created and provisioned when they onboard your main services. It's about leveraging your data center, all that hardware that you deployed and configured, that is state of the art, that needs to be put to work. It's also about stability, multi-tenancy, and scalability. So in the end, we have to acknowledge the simple truth here. Making email hosting just work is hard work. As I said, Oxygen is an all-in-one product. We do not mix and match open source components. Hence, you get a single vendor support for everything email related that knows the ins and outs and the bits and pieces of the email platform that they provide. A few words about these internals of our product. It is fully developed in-house in C++. It is multi-platform, so you can run it on Windows or Linux. Its development started back in 2005 with int main and evolved to the 1.5 million lines of code that is today. From day one, Oxygen was built with multi-tenancy in mind, and it is crafted for scalability and stability. Hence, you can host multiple domains on your shared email platform that you would build on top of Oxygen. We developed our own storage. We do not store emails in the classical ways. And that is because we specifically designed it to be able to host a large numbers of mailboxes that each of them are in the range of tens of gigabytes in size. We developed our own SMTP engine that we needed to be integrated with all the other components. The IMAP server, the POP3 server, the webmail that your customers will be delighted to use, which is what you see now here. The web admin, which will be the interface that your administrators will use. The command line interface, which enables the automatic provisioning and the high level of automation that the Oxygen platform allows. The CalDAV and CardDAV server and the Exchange Active Sync protocol that we implemented. We are a Microsoft licensee for this protocol, by the way. Recognizing the importance of having clean mailboxes, we have made strategic partnerships with security vendors, which are now bundled and tightly integrated in Oxygen. Some of them are Kaspersky, another one is Siren. We developed a powerful clustering functionality into our product, which enabled us to be ready for the cloud nativeness that we see today. Our customers that know Oxygen from some time already know that we had one of the easiest to set up all-in-one email platforms out there. In parallel, our provisioning API is so wide in functionality that virtually every single checkbox that you see in the web admin interface can be configured via CLI, which is our interface for provisioning. Now, when you blend these two, we have found out that creating a Docker container, which leverages both the small footprint of the Oxygen installation kit, as well as the automation capabilities, renders faster and more consistent setup times, thus making your operations more streamlined. We understand how important the image side for cloud native services is, and we are happy to say that we have one of the smallest footprint in the industry for such a tightly integrated, full-feature email, calendaring, and contacts platform. Oxygen has a very clear separation of storage from compute, and its flexibility, being able to mount storage partitions from various sources and treat them as a single one, is a must for an ever-growing email hosting services. And we know that consumers now ask more and more and larger mailbox sizes. Separating domains into totally non-overlapping data spaces is at the heart of our multi-tenancy. So the data of one domain, which may be an SMB customer of yours, will never overlap with the data of another customer of yours that is another SMB, another separate domain, even though you have this deployed on a shared email hosting platform. So integrating with the underlying storage snapshotting capabilities enables super simple, quick, and full system backup and restore that protects you from disasters or human error. Later on, Kubernetes came, and it struck us when we evaluated and we began to learn about it, about how much of the philosophy of Oxygen overlaps with the Kubernetes principles, pod, stateless set, stateful set, services. And we built the Oxy Helm chart. We modeled into Kubernetes our multi-tier architecture, front-end pods, back-end pods, and we plugged all of this in our automation capabilities. Therefore, Oxygen's clustering horizontal scalability matched perfectly with Kubernetes scaling of stateless or stateful pods. Just to give you a bit of a touch into our architecture, Oxygen can be deployed in a virtually unlimited scalable platform because you can simply add nodes on the front-end layers or on the back-end layers that have this platform as a single stable platform for all your customers. Remember that I mentioned a few slides back our clustering capabilities. One of the features of this component is that once you add a new backend node in the backend layer and you begin provisioning new users on this new backend node, those users, the existence of those users is broadcasted in between these nodes so that the front-end nodes real time when a new connection comes for them. So the email routing inside the cluster is fully automatic, and therefore it doesn't allow for any human error. This contributes to the stability of the platform, which is resilient and scalable. Each layer has a different approach to high availability, and even though a certain physical node may break, the failover mechanisms and the fact that the other nodes are unaffected allows you to reach extremely high availability numbers. Yes, Oxygen can be optionally integrated with an external LDAP server or an Active Directory, and this paves the way for extending the platform with other services and integrate it into your network so that users can benefit from single sign-on and other services just as easy as 1, 2, 3. The Oxy Helm chart that I have mentioned enables hosting providers that want to be able to easily scale their email hosting infrastructure to run a multi-node email platform on Kubernetes with Oxygen. All of this has been available for years to be run on bare metal or virtualized infrastructure. But now Oxygen comes to Kubernetes as well. In these ecosystems, Oxygen can be integrated with Elasticsearch and Kibana for log centralization and discovery. So all the logs of all the nodes that I have shown in the previous slides can be centralized and easily browsed and queried using advanced tools like Elasticsearch and Kibana. Oxygen can also be integrated with Prometheus and Grafana for performance KPIs, monitoring, and alarming. Of course, we still support the SNMP way. So if you still make use of classical network monitoring platforms, no worries, Oxygen will be able to integrate into your network as well.
We have 5 minutes remaining.
Our Helm chart is designed for plain vanilla Kubernetes deployments, so that makes it a fit for leveraging your own private and public self-hosted Kubernetes cluster. If you choose to deploy on a managed Kubernetes from any of these big players, of course you can do so, and customizing the Oxy Helm chart to use the specific annotation for each of them should be an easy task. Now, if you wonder why Google Cloud Platform is not there, well, the simple reason is that GCP does not allow outbound connection on the port 25. That's it. Sure, you can use a smart host, but this is their stance. Do not host email services on GCP, or better said, do not send emails out from GCP. Well, talking about the policies of big players. Now, If you prefer to evaluate on your own terms, our website gives a few enables in this regard. You can use the webmail demo that is on the main page and get instant access to an auto-generated account, just like your customers would. So you can see what your customer would benefit and what our state-of-the-art desktop-like webmail looks like. There is also a web admin demo, which allows you to enter our administrative interface. Well, you have to keep in mind that our web admin demo, there are some limitations which we impose to it, since this is an online demo platform. So this is why we also offer the third option. Just download our software product, install it on your system. You can download an installer for Windows or Linux. Both RPM and Debian-based distributions are supported. Or you can get a pre-built VMware VirtualBox image. Or, of course, this is the topic of our discussion today, you can get a Docker container. So you can play it in a single node mode by yourself easily. If you want to deep dive, come join our booth. You will find relevant materials that can give you a sense of how could Oxygen, the product, the team, the services, could help you on your path to build cloud-native email hosting services. Or hell, upgrade from your existing email platform. Madalena, the territory account manager, should be your first entry point if you want a guided tour on Oxygen. The rest of us all, Andrea, the two Gabriels, myself, are also available to any questions that you might have. We'd love to hear both your struggles as well as your successes with email hosting, because we love email hosting and therefore we are happy when we hear the good stories as well. So make sure you say hi. My colleagues will also be in the rooms and at the tables, so you'll meet them. A short reminder that at 3 p.m. today, there is a workshop, a little bit of a more technical workshop with a blend of core theory and practical examples on what are the steps to secure an email hosting infrastructure. To give you a briefly highlights, we will cover in brief, as there is not enough time to cover it all, three main topics: inbound security, what layers are involved in securing inbound email traffic, outbound security. Why? Well, simple. You need to take outbound security seriously for many reasons, but the most obvious one is don't get blacklisted. Mailbox access security. How do you make sure only the mailbox owner gets access to his data? So how to join? Well, come at 3 p.m. on our booth and click the join button on our workshop, or simply go to the workshop rooms menu button and choose join under the Oxygen slot. See you there. And thank you very much for having me here.